Good afternoon and welcome to this webinar on small business strategies. My name is Peter Lacandro, the Managing Partner of Financially Sorted, previously known as Chan and Naylor Melbourne. Great to have you all here and hope that you're all safe and well, remaining positive, especially here in Victoria as we get through a rough trot over Christmas with the COVID situation, but hopefully we're finding ourselves coming out the other end and look forward into some freedoms in the future. As a team of professionals, we're here to assist, certainly, and we'll continue to communicate with you, whether it be through emails, newsletters, webinars like this one, social media, and obviously conversations that we'll have. It'll certainly be some changes coming up in the near future. We have a federal budget popping up later this month, along with the respective federal and state elections, which I'm sure, like any election, will come with changes in legislation and the way we treat things for tax purposes. The team here at Financially Sorted, we're all happy to assist both today and tomorrow, and please just ask and we can certainly help, no problems in that regard. All right, let's get stuck into it, shall we? So firstly, just a little bit about us. We've got a couple of office locations here in Victoria, one in Moonee Ponds and one here in Willers Hill. We can assist you with taxation and accountancy, the obvious compliance work with BASs, etc. We can also help with financial planning, wealth creation, SMSF services, along with insurances, finance and loan broking. Also bookkeeping, cloud technology through software such as Xero, and CFO services as well. My recommendation to you all would be to satisfy or surround yourselves with a network of experts, from property advocates to accountants to bookkeepers to lawyers, etc., to help you both with your business and also your private and wealth creation purposes where needed. Before we get stuck into it, I must give a general advice only disclaimer. This is general advice, what we're going to go through in the next 60 minutes or so. It's not designed for your particular situation or taking into account your personal circumstances. Please seek appropriate advice where you need to clarify things. I'm going to be talking to you about strategies, about rules and techniques, but please certainly double check with your appropriate advisors. If you don't have one, that's fine, more than happy to assist. And I'll give you my contact details later on, which you can contact me to have a further chat. All right, let's get stuck into it. So, discussion points. What are we going to be looking at today? It's fantastic to have many of you along, and hopefully I'll go a long way towards answering some of your questions around small business and the doubts that you may have. We're going to be looking at 10 tips to implement quickly inside of your business to hopefully provide immediate results. We'll also look at 10 tips which are more focused around your mindset and your personal development as well. We'll also have a look at 20 reasons why you don't make enough money in your business. We'll talk a little bit about the banks and with interest rates tipped to rise in this 2022 year, it's important to touch on that quickly. We'll also look at insurances with business owners especially, and what's important for you all. And then most importantly, what should you as a small business owner be doing next to capitalize on a lot of this? Let's have a look at some small business truths. So starting a new business is a big job. Many would say it's massive, but don't let that put you off. Thousands and many of people do this every single day. And collectively, they've given us plenty guidelines to share. And that's the most important thing here. Starting a business is not just, it should be looked at as a process. There are steps that you need to take, not one particular event like going to a football match. It's a bit like taking the plunge, and you actually get a little bit of adrenaline out of it. And like I said, starting a business isn't just one big decision to say, I'm going to do this. There are hundreds and hundreds of small businesses, small decisions that you need to make. And most importantly, just when you think you're getting somewhere, don't worry, as a small business owner, something will pop up, like a COVID situation that we've dealt with for the last few years. If you want to succeed in small business, or certainly give you the every chance of succeeding, you need to systematically work through the process. There are tools that we can use, which I'm going to introduce a few to you, and you need to do it with a cool head, one by one. Don't panic. You don't need to know everything or have everything under control before you go ahead. More importantly, as long as you're hungry to succeed. There'll be hundreds of variables, like I said, that'll pop up, and numerous unknowns that you even didn't think existed when you first consider starting a business. One by one, you need to unpick it rather than all at once. Like I said, I cannot emphasize further, it's a process, not just a once-off event. And following a process allows you to deal with things in the right order. And it saves you getting stuck on problems before you even have them arise. All right, so when we start a business, to me, there are 4 main phases. Phase number 1 is all about planning and researching your small business. Is it going to work? Is the key. Figuring out how to start a business is just the beginning, but it does involve a lot of planning and research. Phase 2, or once your business is basically launched, you'll need to get the ship steered in the right direction. So it's that getting started phase. Then phase 3, or part 3, is the day-to-day considerations phase. For example, what's your sales that you need to make? Your bookkeeping or account requirements? Is there budgets to watch, BASs to prepare, payroll taxes to be taken care of? And the list can go on and on. And finally, all these factors, plus many, many more, lead to the final stage of creating a sustainable business for the long term, not just the short term. Many, many people say that if you survive the first 5 years of business, you'll be fine. But many people fall over in that initial steps because they're not following a proper process, or they haven't done the proper planning and research around that. Let's get stuck into each phase and have a look at it a little bit further. So like I said, phase number 1 is the planning and research phase. I would say it's the most important phase to determine whether your idea at this stage will become a success or obviously a non-success. And the first thing you should be doing with this phase is set yourself a deadline for completing it. Don't just let it drag on and drag on. Every particular week, you should be scheduling a tasks that you need to complete to see if this still continues to get your undivided attention. You need to be disciplined, because then ultimately that'll lead into running the business and you'll reap the rewards. So part 1 is all about 4 things. What are some keys in starting a business, or the secret? Part 2, how do we put our small business ideas into action? So how do you come up with a small business idea? And how do you actually decide if it's any good and it's going to be rewarding? Part 3 of phase number 1, how do you write a business plan? A business plan is simply a roadmap guiding you where to go and what to do next. And it can certainly help increase the chances of success. And finally, many small businesses, it can be expensive. So work out what your business will need funding-wise and where do you get it. Let's have a look at a couple in this planning and researching phase. So the second point was all about putting your business idea into action. So how do you come up with a small business idea, and how do you decide if it's any good? Can you do your own research? Will you need to get professionals involved, like an accountant, perhaps a mentor or advisor? Can you talk to those that have previously or are still operating in a very similar industry? You can also learn from other people in business in different industries. Where do your good business ideas come from is the key. Not many businesses start with a eureka moment. Some don't even start with an idea at all. For example, maybe a hobbyist might fall into a business by doing what they love. Most other businesses are built around very simple ideas. It might even be an old concept, but in a new location, or perhaps an old service delivered online. Like I said, you don't need to be touched by genius to come up with something. You just need to be able to spot an opportunity that's at your feet. How do we do that? Brainstorming is a big part of it. And brainstorming is transferring an idea into action to determine whether it will be a successful small business. Most people, business ideas form slowly, over time, and even in an unplanned way. But that should not stop you from brainstorming, from talking to others, from researching. It might even help create a brainstorming session that you do, might even help create a spontaneous idea later on. You know, and this is why many people say that I was out running or in the shower or lying in bed, and all of a sudden this came to me. And an example of that is I had a client a few years back in building and developing. And on average, they were turning around homes that they were building in about 150 days or 5 months. So they ended up having a brainstorming session with their team. How do we build a home in 10 days was the brainstorming session. Now, what did the team do? They turned around and said, we cannot do that. No way, not possible. And you're right, it wasn't possible. But what ended up happening through the brainstorming sessions that they are now turning homes around on average between 60 to 90 days. Because all these ideas were popped on a table, some could be implemented, some could not. However, now they're turning homes around in half the time, which means more profit, more activity, and more reward for their efforts. So it can be something as simple as that. As I mentioned, good ideas or good business ideas can be new or traditional. New ideas often involve a hell of a lot more of trial and error, possibly difficulty finding suppliers, hand-holding with lenders and finance institutions or even investors. You need to educate the market that you're actually out there and spread the word. And there is also a lot of uncertainty out there with new ideas. Tried and true ideas, they're a little bit more conventional. You already will probably have some price competition in the market. There is a difficulty standing out because what puts you different to your competitors? And there is a little bit of limitation in terms of expanding. Neither of them are right or wrong. It's up to you what you would prefer. When testing ideas, though, it's important to organise your early thoughts. Think about starting a business from 3 angles. The first one would be your customers or your clients. Who are they going to be? How will you reach them? Why will they choose you? And what will they pay you? The second part of that is resources. Can you get the supplies that you may need? What tools will you need? And what contractors or employees will you need to help you with this business? And the third angle or part of it is around finances. So how much will you have to charge? What will it cost you to launch? Where will that money come from? And a business viability checklist can certainly help move through that process. And it's all about basically helping you tick the right boxes at the right time. So in terms of a viability checklist, will your target market change their behaviour and pay you the required amount to get your solution or get your business off the ground? Have you asked them? Yes, maybe you have. The second bit is I'm not sure. And if that's the case, it's probably going to be a very difficult business proposition. Have you done any competitor research? What are their strengths and weaknesses? So again, you need to consider that. Do you have access to money? Can you get hold of money? How much do you need? And what happens if something bad goes wrong? And most people forget about this one, but do you actually have the time and resources to put into your business? Is there a family involved which may limit that? Or you just don't have the, are you still working full time and you're trying to get your business off the ground on the weekend? And finally, have you written a business plan? As an accountant, when I have clients or people that I first meet come to me and say, what do you think of this business? I ask them for a business plan. 9 out of 10 haven't got one. They've got certain information stored in their head, but you should have some plans written down, a bit of goals and objectives. Even the bank or any other finance institution will want that as well. Has it been reviewed by an accountant or someone that can look at it and say, how about this or how about that? A plan will help you guideline you where you need to head. Also, part of this planning phase is getting bank finance. What do you need? How much do you need? When will you need it? Many clients right at the moment, and especially for the last 12 months, have been refinancing. There's cheap rates out there like we've never seen before. And they're also wanting to put cash buffers in place. And through this COVID situation that we've gone through over the last 2 years, we've certainly seen that those businesses with cash buffers in place have generally got through okay, because they didn't have to worry so much about what bill is coming. This also includes on a business side. At the moment, your investment loans, so for those of you that are investing, your loan should start with a 2. PPR loans were as low as 1, starting with a 1 last year. They've gone up recently a little bit, but certainly if you've got a loan that you're paying 4, 5, 6%, sometimes we even see business clients with the old traditional bank overdrafts that are paying 8%. It is way too much. We have Lucy in our office who can certainly assist. Her contact details are listed there. But your objective should be to go shopping right now to save money. It's a free service to you. So contact Lucy and she'll certainly be able to guide you in the right direction with your finance or your funding requirements. Okay, so we've looked at the planning and research phase, and we're happy that it's all good. The next phase is the tricky one, and it's also a lot of work involved, the getting starting phase. So what are the 5 phases to get us off the ground, to get us out there into the marketplace? The first one is budgeting and forecasting. So forecast your income and your expenditure over at least a 12-month period. What do you need to build your sales up to cover the bills as a break-even point? So basically have clarity around how much money you need to earn to cover the costs. Factor in a wage for yourself as well, because I reckon you're going to be doing a lot of hours. Sales forecasting. Take the guesswork out of it. Approach it scientifically by looking at your competitors, talking to accountants, to mentors, to advisors. What does it actually need to be? Let's create a full-blown budget in that regard. Pricing. So setting prices with your services that you're providing or your goods that you're selling is one of the most important decisions you'll make. Yes, you need to ensure that your costs are covered, but you need to make sure that it's ticking the right boxes. An important one, which most people don't think is important at the beginning, is getting your structures right. Making sure that what's the right structure for you, or should you be a sole trader to a partnership, to a company? And we're going to cover that a little bit more in a moment. And finally, in the getting started phase, you need to register this business. Make sure that it's legal. So to get started, you'll possibly need a business name, apply for an ABN or GST rego through the ATO, and ensure that you have all the right permits and licenses in place, just in case something was to happen. So let's have a look at a couple of these also. So budgeting and forecasting. So understanding what your income needs to be and what your expenses will most likely be. So basically, we need to look at a business budget. So this budget will show how much money will come in and when you're likely to achieve it over a period of time, usually at least a year. And it should be regularly reviewed as well. That money might come in as loans, gifts, investment, or the obvious one being revenue from sales. How will it go out? Things like stock or product that you need to buy, rent, advertising, wages for you and your staff, loan repayments, and the list can go on and on. Probably at the beginning, you'll also need marketing and advertising costs especially. So most budgets try to keep spending down so they can, so the sales at the beginning don't need to be as great. If it's done correctly, your budget should show a profit. And that means obviously we'll keep the right things. But a great budget will always show you how much money is coming in and you need to at least start the business. How many sales you'll need to cover the costs. What price you need to charge for your services or products. How much you can afford to reinvest into the business, either through extra team members, plant and equipment, whatever that may be. And like I said, when can you afford to hire help? So it's basically a summary of the money you're making and where you're spending it. And once you understand that, you can obviously then implement strategies to make more money and decrease the spending. Let's also have a look in this phase. Like I said, this is probably the area that most people forget about. Business structures and registering your business. When first thinking about it, starting a business, most people don't worry about a structure. But as an accountant, your business structure can affect how you're treated by the government, by the ATO, and obviously the law. Some of the main things or types of structures out there are sole traders, partnerships, trusts and companies in Australia. And your choice that you go down or the path that you follow will determine your administration obligations, your tax requirements, the legal status, your ability to raise money through selling part of your business or through finance. When looking at a structure, 4 main things must be looked at or should be looked at. Number 1, taxation side of things. We obviously all want to keep as much in our pockets legally as we can. Asset protection. The last thing you want to do is build a small business and for someone to come along and wipe it from under your feet. Asset protection is very careful. Estate planning. Touch wood, but if something was to happen drastically, how does your business get wound up? What are the tax implications involved? Who is now becomes the legal owners of it all? And borrowing capacity. Depending upon the type of structure that you have, could mean more borrowing capacity for you both personally and as a business owner. Registering a business is also very important because if you don't do it properly at the beginning, it could have dire consequences from ABNs to GSTs through ASIC. If, for example, you're running a food business, might be permits and licenses that you need to have in place. And it's very important. Again, you got to make sure that legally you are employing the right people and paying them the right amount of money. So that becomes quite important. So it's very important, these two steps as well. Sorry. Part 3. Let's have a look at phase 3, the day-to-day consideration. So great news, you've done your planning, you've done your research, and you've gotten your small business off the ground. Then the next part comes in. Small business insurance. The key to good planning is to make sure you've covered all possibilities, including the bad ones. So we make sure that you have the appropriate level of insurances in place. Small business accounting. Do you understand the accounting tasks that are required to run your business? What's the record keeping required? And when will they need to be done by? And the amounts that you likely will be obligated to pay. Set up your business location is part of the day-to-day considerations. So does your business need a base or an office, or can it be run from home or online? Does it need to be big and fancy? If it does, you're probably looking at more costs involved. And finally, finding employees. So if you're needing team members in your business, it's important that they are the right fit for your business to align to your goals, your objectives, and your business values. So let's have a closer look at a couple of these as well. Small business accounting. You'll need to become familiar with at least a few bookkeeping and accounting basics. What is small business accounting? Well, it's pretty much tracking money as it comes in and goes out from a business. Some of the information that you'll need to collect will need to be reported to the government for tax purposes, but most of it should be used by you as the owner of the business to manage it and further enhance it. As I suggested, small business accounting, it's a very big topic, but for most small businesses, it boils down to 3 things. Keeping records of business transactions, which is basic bookkeeping. And a major goal when you start a business is to make some money. And you won't know if that's happening unless you have a reliable picture of your income versus costs. Good record keeping will help you do that. It'll tell you when you may run out of money. It'll tell you tax season's coming and what's the bill going to be like, or when the wages tax is due for your employees, or when you lodge your tax return, is there likely to be a big bill? So with that becomes very important. So what accounting records will you need to create or to help you manage the business? And again, those accounting records are more for your internal purposes rather than external. And they will help you determine what products are more profitable, what services you should provide and at what price, cash flow reports, a comparison of this year versus last year. And they become very, very important. And finally, all of these items should be basically used to help you fill in a tax return come the end of the year. The unnecessary evil of paying tax and the legal amount to pay to the government. And that can be in the form of GST, it can be in the form of pay-as-you-go withholding or instalments. There are many other related employee types of taxes that you'll need to possibly collect and pay as well. So in small business accounting, do you need an accountant to help you with that or a bookkeeper? And accountants are often thought as tax people, yes, and they certainly help with that stuff. But they should be able to create and interpret accounting records for you and help you show you the numbers that really matter and perhaps the next steps for your business. So speak to your accountants or your bookkeepers to help you with all that. If you feel they can't, it's probably time to give me a call because I don't think you've got the right one every day. And most importantly, if they're not helping you with that, there's a bigger cost here, which is the money or the profit that you're not putting in your pocket. Keeping records is very, very important when you're running a business, even for us privately. Yes, you have to do that. Good record keeping, like I said, it will tell you if you're profitable or at least moving in the right direction. It'll tell you if you're likely to run out of money. It'll also make tax season far easier because you'll have all the appropriate information to lodge your returns and you'll know what to expect in the form of a tax liability. So bookkeeping will help with all this type of things. So keeping those accounting records are very important. What are some of the common types of accounting records for your business to help you manage it? A profit and loss report, which highlights all the income and expenses to see if you're making money. A balance sheet, which will go a long way towards telling you what the business owns versus what it owes to someone else. A cash flow report will go a long way towards telling you the cash that's coming in versus out and how much you have left. And a business dashboard. So this is like an online or a report tracking your choice of your performance metrics. So what you believe drives your business or what you would like information on. And this should help you make numerous decisions, like perhaps whether to borrow money or not, whether to hire new team members, what products or services you should focus on more, and which ones to let go. An accountant should be able to help with this business dashboard. And finally, filing your tax returns, that unnecessary evil. What are you legally required to pay? Income tax wise, goods and services tax, which is your BASs, and other employee related taxes, whether they be payroll taxes or pay as you go, possibly even superannuation and work cover obligations as well. So small business accounting is very, very important in the day-to-day operations of any business. The next part we'll have a quick look at is finding the right employees for your businesses. Most businesses start with just one worker, being you, the owner. You might need extra people from the beginning. So where do you begin? What kind of skills do you need to look for? Employment can vary a lot, but generally, employees need to be the right fit for your business. They need to align to your goals and your objectives, along with the values that you believe in and that you want to portray to your clients or your customers. Types of employees: a generalist, or as I refer to, a jack of all trades, can help with a variety of tasks. Perhaps someone with certified skills like a plumber, or technical skills like a developer or a bookkeeper, or someone with soft skills like a sales rep. That'll obviously depend upon your business and what you believe you need to help you succeed. How do we find great employees? That's a common question we get asked as accountants. Have you asked your fellow colleagues or the team members that work for you? Tell them you want someone just like them. Engage recruiters. Can be costly, of course, but that's a common thing these days. Gone are the days where you probably buy the Age on a Saturday and look up all the jobs going in there in that paper. Talk to your own contacts, talk to your network out there. Use job boards, possibly in supermarkets or other industry or private or social groups that you're part of. Post in social media. Facebook, LinkedIn are the big ones. There is online recruiter services where you can look at online and do Google searches. Speak to tertiary institutions or TAFEs. If you're looking for a plumber, contact the local TAFE and perhaps they have someone wonderful that's finishing off an apprenticeship. How about if you've got a shop or an office window, put a sign up in there. You know, at the moment, we're walking into many cafes and a lot of these cafes are looking for help, wanted. There's no right or wrong way to find great employees, just spread the word. The considerations is the cash flow of the business. Can you afford it? You should always be creating a legal agreement or a contract. If you can't afford it as a small business, or perhaps you're in the initial phase, what are some of the options? Perhaps you'd like to share some of your profits with them. Perhaps a share of the business. Might be a deferred salary or a commission or cut of a certain sale that they may make. Should I be looking at a full-time employee, or should we be looking at part-time or casual versus contractors, subcontractors out there? Again, be very, very careful. You need, depending upon the options that you choose, there could be leave requirements like personal and annual leave. There'll also be possible superannuation and work cover considerations. So complying with the law is probably a good idea. If you're not sure, again, speak to your accountant that should be able to advise you. Okay, so part 4, we've planned our business, we've got it off the ground, and day to day it's humming along nicely. How do we create a sustainable business? What do we need to do to keep pushing it and move it into that next level or achieve our goals and objectives that we're after? Has your business got a website? A website is now an online version of your storefront. People will do Google searches. Make sure their first impression counts. How are you promoting your business? What's the trick that you're choosing to bring the customers to you? Ensure your strategy guides and what's your marketing activity. Tools and guides that you can use. So is your business ready to get up and running? It's important to keep on top of everything. And what can you put in your business, or what can you change so that it gets done automatically or automated? Very, very important. Allows you to then move on to the next activity quicker. Let's have a look at a couple of these as well. So website or your storefront is very, very important. What's in a decent website? Well, you need to register a web address, also called a domain or a URL, how people will find you. And that name that you pick is very, very important. Someone needs to host your website. Choose the right plan to start your website off. Pick a template or get it custom designed. Many people initially use pre-designed templates these days. Get a decent looking logo. Can make you look incredibly professional rather than a cheap little one or something that looks a little bit shabby. Add content onto your website. Focus on the ways in which you can be fresh and different from your competitors. Test it. Visit your site and from different devices like your mobile phone versus your laptop. Make sure that it looks and feels practically right. Get others to have a look at it for you and give you feedback, like family or friends. When you're happy, hit publish, make it live. Then make sure you tell everyone to visit it. And most importantly, set review dates or refresh dates. Continually refresh it, update it, keep the information accurate. And that'll help with your Google rankings and those type of things as well. Where to next is a big part of it. So build it and they come does sound true in business as well. You'll need a sales and marketing strategy to bring the customers or clients to you. There's hundreds of things that you could do. The important is to pick the right one. And always starting with that strategy is very, very important. Go back to your original business plan. What are your strengths, your weaknesses, your opportunities and your threats? And that's a big part of it. What can you do? Try what works. Always measure and test. If it works, great, do a bit more of it. If it doesn't, go on to the next thing. Try videos, brochures, podcasts, free gifts, promotions, ask for referrals, advertise, trade shows, and the list can go on and on. Most importantly though, build a marketing machine that makes people bang on your door and ring your number rather than your competitors. There is some investment required and a lot of trial and error, but once it's up and running, it'll work itself out. So we've had a look at the 4 phases of business and concentrated on a couple of the different steps involved in each of them. The next part of that, and I am wary of time, so we'll keep churning through this. Please, if you've got any questions, just pop them into the Q&A box on the webinar, and I'll certainly do my best to answer them at the end. But the next bit I want to quickly have a look at, 20 reasons why you don't make enough money in your business. And it's very, very important that once you've got a business up and running, that you continually refine it. The marketplace changes, the laws change. So are you challenging yourself? And are you continually trying to improve your business to receive the greatest rewards? And an example again is what's happened with many, many businesses over the last couple of years. They have redefined themselves. They've moved into areas that they never thought was possible. Are you challenging yourself to do that as well? So generally speaking, there are 2 parts around why your business doesn't make enough money. Part 1 is I'm going to give you 10 tips on how to get quick results. And part 2 is developing yourself to achieve long-term success. Now, we've also created a brochure for you. Basically 20 reasons why you don't make enough money in your business. It's on our website, and there's our website address. It's about a 30-page brochure. That brochure has notes on 20 different items. There are tools that we recommend using, and there are even simple resources and techniques that you can follow to help you. So please feel free to jump on our website and download the brochure. It can be located here under the resources tab, which has a small business portal. And all the phases, you can also download a phase, every section of the phase, the 17 steps, has a section that you can download with extra readings as well. So please help yourself in that regard on our website. Let's go through quickly, because I'm wary of time again, the tips or the 20 reasons how you can get better results. So the first one, tips to get quick results. Get organized. Set yourself up with regular meetings, regular rhythms. If you're not organized, your team never will be. The power of regular meetings. Are you regularly talking to your team, to your managers, to your sales reps, to your accountants? What are their metrics to achieve? Numbers are the language of business. Most people in small business can't read numbers or think they're not important. I'll cover this point in a moment, but they are very important. Probably the most important thing you could ever understand. Have you got a point of difference to your competitors? What's going to make you stand out in the crowd? The profit is in the price. When you set prices for your products or your services, it will determine the bottom line. So what is the break-even point, or what is the margin on every single product or service that you're providing? You need to understand that. Part of that as well, there is a simple profit growth formula that you can follow. You can access that in the brochure that I just told you about. And there is a step-by-step process of what you do to price things to the profit growth formula. Nothing happens until there is a sale, until the money is in the bank. That's the key. Get right people in the right seats. I'll talk about this one a little bit more in a moment. Regularly ask your customers or your clients for feedback. Ask your team how you can improve or for feedback. Have an open door policy. Communication is the key with both your team and your clients. Implementation is more important than the perfect strategy. And again, I'm going to cover this point in a moment. But get stuff done. Part 2. Developing yourself to achieve long-term success. It's all about you. What's your business plan? What are you trying to achieve? Your attitude determines your altitude. If you have a strong work ethic, it'll help your business take off quicker. If you are doing the right things rather than the wrong things, it'll help with your altitude of your business. Business by design, not business by default. Again, I'm going to touch on this in a moment. Learn how to lead your team, your contractors, and inspire others around you. Learn about people, what motivates them. If you've got a number of team members, how you talk to them is different They respond differently, no different to a coach, how he talks to his various football players. People respond to different methods of listening. Get comfortable with stepping outside your comfort zone. Guess what? If you do the same thing every day, I'll guarantee you get the same result. If you want more, you need to step out of your comfort zone. Create a business, not a job. Could you walk away from your business today and it would continue functioning? It would continue thriving? If not, sorry, but all you do is have a job. Foster an environment of open communication. So make your team comfortable to come to you with recommendations. Ask your clients, your customers, how you can improve. What do they want? The system and the team becomes very important. What things are you putting in place? What systems are you putting in place to ensure that it ticks the boxes that you want? And embrace higher standards and higher accountability. Goes a long way towards creating the environment that you're trying to create. Let's have a look at a couple more in a little bit more detail. The power of regular meetings and the importance thereon. With your team, they are the greatest expense most likely to your business, and they are critical to the profitability of your business. So are they being as productive as possible? When you have regular meetings with your team, create an agenda and stick to it. No wastage of time. Talk to your managers, your leaders, discuss the business overall, and then work with them how to enhance it. Managers or leaders should be talking to their respective teams to discuss output, production, and the problems that arise. With your entire team, regularly discuss their achievements, the challenges that they face. The key to regular meetings is about communication, and together finding the boxes that you need to tick or work on to further enhance your business. We quickly spoke about numbers being the language of business. If you want to get your business to run better, then you need to learn how to speak this language. There's the obvious ones of monthly profit and loss reports, perhaps your debtors or your creditors, the money that you're owed versus the money that you owe others. Keep an eye on your stock levels, know your break-even points, and have your measures in place to ensure that the right activity is getting done. People are not comfortable, or many lack the confidence at looking at their numbers. But you must do this. Being able to read and interpret numbers will always put you light head years ahead of your customers and most business people out there. They should give you amazing insights into your business, and it will help you make quicker and more informed decisions, which definitely lead to better results. Many of the clients we sit down with, we're producing their numbers 6 and 12 months after they've happened. That is too late. We should be looking at bookkeeping. We should be looking at a dashboard for your business to help you thrive today and make the decisions that you need to do today. And numbers can also be about how many sales appointments should you be doing on a weekly or monthly basis? What are the conversion rates? What are the most profitable items on your menu? Who are the most effective team members? Is there seasonal effects? All this is part of the language of business. Get the right people in the right seats. Guess what? You can't do it all yourself. You'll need help. Every well-run business and profitable business must have a team of people pulling in the right direction or the same direction. The right people are those that buy into your vision for the business and share your values, such as honesty, work ethic, high levels of customer service. Wow your clients, your customers. Putting these people in the right seats means that you put them in the roles to fit their skills, their abilities, and their experience. Do you have to reshuffle some of your team members? Or perhaps, do you need to pull the bus over and kick them off? Very, very important. Implementation is more important than the perfect strategy. What decisions do you need to make this week? A business plan is useless if it sits on the top shelf gathering dust. An idea is useless if it sits in your top drawer and never comes out. What do you need to implement to make your business better? And do it now, this week. Business by design, not default. Who's running the ship? Is it your team? Is it your customers? Or is it you as the business owner? Take control. Yes, as a small business owner, you are at the mercy of the economy, the business environment, and the decision of others. Is that really ideal or what you're trying to do? Instead of ending up with a business by default, it's about having a picture of the business that you want to create and then putting the steps, the processes and the strategies in place to make this picture come to life. And that will result in a business that suits you, your lifestyle and your priorities. Business by design, not default. And finally, before we wrap up, create a business, not a job. Don't fall in the trap of setting up your business so it relies on you totally. Might be great for your ego, might make you even feel extra important. But if your business relies on you, then it's not a real business. It's really a job. What happens if you get sick? What happens if you want to go on holiday, or can you? So the objective here should be try not to become a key technical person in your business, or at least let the business structure, the day-to-day operations, they do not rely on you. Firstly, be aware that this is a trap, and then employ the right people, training them in the right way and giving them the tools to get on with their job. Create a business, not a job. It's important. So in wrapping up, a couple more things, I'm wary of time. If you need help with businesses and insurances, very, very important. Key man insurances, superannuation, or perhaps perhaps investing your money. Talk to Daz in our office. His contact details are there. But the important thing there, or the objective, should be to get yourself financially sorted. One thing I did want to mention as well, the ATO is on the warpath. I'm not sure if the governments have spent too much money in the last couple of years, but we are getting questions from different government organisations. They are now chasing people that are behind. So get amounts paid. Let's talk if you need help organising repayment plans. They're beginning to conduct reviews and audits again. And I imagine that will continue. Government departments now have the technology to talk. So be careful, they are watching. Webinars. So this webinar will basically, once we're done, give it probably 24 hours, we will upload it to our website. So if there is anything that you'd like to watch again, or perhaps refer to a certain slide, here's our website listed, and basically you'll be able to access it there. There are also many other presentations there that you can access, from property to COVID presentations that we did last year. We'll also be doing a presentation on the upcoming budget, along with other property webinars, etc., in the coming months. Log on to our social media and like our pages, and that'll give you all the appropriate links as well. Feel free to use our website. There are resources there for your usage, from tax checklists to occupation guides to fact sheets to whatever you need. Feel free to use them. They're there for your benefit. And finally, what to do next? Like I just said, review our small business portal on our website. It will help, I'm sure it will. Access and download whatever you need to do to assist you and achieving your goals and objectives. And ask for assistance. If you haven't got the right people around you, ask. How do you do that? My contact details are here. Feel free to give us a call. Make sure you talk to us for assistance. Make sure that all your compliance is up to date with the ATO, especially from tax returns to BASs to super obligations. It's time to get financially sorted. So on behalf of myself and the team here at Financially Sorted, I'd just like to say a big thank you for listening in. Look forward to meeting and speaking to you in the future. And if there's anything we can do to assist, please just ask. We're only a phone call or an email away. Have a magic day and an even better weekend. Thank you.